This was supposed to be the origin story of Funky People, but it ended up being something different. I asked Lika to be my special guest host because I recognised that her gift, her talent, her mission, similar to mine's, find the sparks and turn them into fireworks. So I thought, who better to get the origin story out of me than somebody like me? One question in, she proved me right. She asked a question that the opening question took me by surprise, and boy did it open me. It ripped me open. And yeah, this is not a well thought out, beautifully articulated conversation. This is me bearing my soul. June here in Austria, maybe internationally, is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. But it doesn't matter who it's for. Mental health awareness is important. Far too many of us know someone who has taken their own life, someone who has committed suicide. I know more than one. And I've got a story of my own. I'm going to tell it. Lika asks me the questions and I tell the story. There's drama, there's tragedy, there's actual real genuine tragedy. There are some sad bits. But long story short, the reason why I'm doing this intro here is, in case you don't watch the whole episode, I want the most important thing to take away from the episode, and you can take it away here and then just go and do whatever you're doing. If you ever suspect that there's somebody who's struggling, who's not doing too well, ask them. Just say to them, are you okay? You can never do any harm with those 3 words. And it doesn't matter who that person is. Please, don't assume that there's somebody nearer, somebody dearer, somebody closer, somebody who's more appropriate to ask that question. I'll just leave it because John will ask. I'll just not bother because Sarah will take care of that. No! Fucking ask the question. Excuse my French. You can't do any harm asking that question, but you never know. You might save a life. It really is that easy. Sometimes. Not always, unfortunately, sadly, very sadly. But sometimes, luckily, it is. So, it's a dramatic episode, it's a tragic episode, but we changed the direction later on, and it actually ends up being, I hope also, quite an uplifting episode. A bit of the world according to Scott, my philosophies, a bit of romance, because I always do romance, don't I? And we end this episode again with my words, my writing. This time it's not a poem, but it's a love letter. So, yeah. Are you okay? Ask that question, don't be shy, and please enjoy the show, because I really do bare my soul.
So, Scott.
Hi.
Today is June. June is the Men's Mental Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this topic is very important to you because you worked for many years on the most extreme oil rig. And you were on your life was on hanging by a thread many times.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point it brought you to a nervous breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
That you need to overcome, which you did and came back strong. Can you tell us about your experience working there and what actually happened and how it shaped you as a person?
Boy, yeah, Men's Mental Health Month. It's important, very important. There's a lot of talk of it, and I've got 1 or 2 stories. Nervous breakdown is burnout, but more extreme. Burnout, I've had to basically constantly deal with burnout my whole life. I have ADHD. It's well known that I have ADHD because I'm the founder of the ADHD positive movement. But yeah, it's been a struggle, and also for several years, even more extreme, more severe, more serious than nervous breakdowns on oil platforms. I spent, I'd say maybe about 5 years actually genuinely fighting for my life, and fighting with, not with, against, dealing with depression, and not just, oh yeah, I'm not particularly happy, but like a serious dose of serious depression. So I think those are probably the three things that I feel comfortable speaking about now. I'm 47. I've survived all sorts of shit in my own head, on gas platforms, with ADHD, all these things. I'm doing grand. I said to you last time that I'm going to live until I'm 120. No, it's like it's pretty lame. 120? Nah, 135 I think. 135.
The technology will be there to make it happen.
Exactly. The technology will be there, and in German there's a really good begriff saying, Lebensfreude, and an ex-girlfriend, the same one from the Thunder poem actually, she described me as Lebensfreude pur. So it's like having a pure zest for life. Mm-hmm. Doesn't translate so well, but I absolutely love life. I love my life. I love the people in my life. But to get to where I am now, there's been a hurdle or two. Flow is my topic. I'm the flow guy. Energy flows in the human sense, energy flow in the societal sense, the infrastructural sense. Sonny just said yesterday he's been watching some YouTube videos about oil platforms. He knows that I did that. I haven't done it full time since 2017, but I spent 13 years offshore on oil platforms in the North Sea. Alone, the environment is extreme, but the place where I was, and I won't mention any names because these companies are big, and if I say something they don't like, they might sue me.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I was on the biggest platform. We produced almost as much gas in one day as the whole of Austria would use in a day. Really just a tiny difference. So that's a lot of gas. Now, if you leave the barbecue on, like you're trying to light the barbecue and it doesn't ignite straight away, and then it goes woof, you'll lose your eyebrows within seconds, and that's like nothing. So imagine all the gas flowing through Austria, not just at the tiny amount of pressure that a barbecue has, it's a tiny amount of pressure, but 1200 bar. 1200 bar, that's a number that nobody can really fathom.
Yeah.
A car tire has, I think, 3. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk's rockets, everybody's speaking about SpaceX just now. I was in Cape Canaveral a couple of years ago for a launch, but it didn't happen. It got cancelled in the last minute. Mm-hmm. But they're only a few hundred bars. That fuel that's getting pumped out the bottom of there and ignited and shooting these rockets up to the space, I can't remember if it's 250 or 400 bar, but nowhere near the 1200 bar that the gas is coming out of the ground with where I was. Mm-hmm. Crazy. You need to get there with a helicopters twice. I've narrowly missed being in a helicopter. One time, 5 minutes after I got out of the helicopter, the next flight, 5 minutes later, the helicopter actually fell out of the sky. Nobody died there, it was close. It was this close, 20 centimeters close, like genuinely. There was a weird noise. It was 27th of December 2016. I was going offshore and just had a lovely Christmas with the family. It was cool, but missing New Year, so it was like, really? But we're flying there, and helicopters are extremely uncomfortable, extremely loud. One of the worst ways to travel. Anyway, but I was sleeping. They're quite easy to sleep in because they kind of hypnotize you. But there was a really weird movement. And they moved weird, but this one was really weird. And once we landed, we were on the platform, and the pilot got off the chopper to use the toilet. And I said to him, "What happened there? That was a really weird movement." He said, "No, nothing." "Really?" He says, "Yeah, everyone's fine." Like, okay, fine. So then the next 18 people got on the chopper and went to one of our satellite platforms 5 kilometers away. And as they were landing, the rear rotor, the bearing, it destroyed itself. So they lost the rear rotor. They couldn't steer the helicopter. It started spinning. The pilots switched everything off. Luckily, they reacted perfectly. The only thing they could do is just switch the helicopter off. And it fell. I think it was 15 meters. It's quite high. It's about the height of this house. It just went boof.
Under the water?
No, they landed on the heli deck, on the platform. But it kept spinning, and it actually hit the deck so hard, a steel deck, that it made a hole in the deck. But it kept spinning and stopped the rear wheels 20 centimeters or 8 inches from the edge. If it, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And if it had fell, it would have fallen, I don't know how high the heli deck is, maybe 50 meters.
It's that high.
Yeah. And because it was a satellite platform, it's a small one. Our own platform was probably higher, I think 80 meters maybe. But yeah, you'd have landed on upside down in the water. You would have, it would have been tragic. But that was so close. It was so close. It was like, oh my God, how close was that? I felt something, and then my colleagues were sitting there, and lots of my colleagues never went to work again.
Yeah, I can imagine. I wouldn't go.
It was, Another time was much, much worse. I got out of the helicopter, didn't notice anything. The helicopter then went to Aberdeen, then went to the next platform, and on the way there, to pick up my brother, actually, coincidentally, the helicopter actually fell out of the sky, very high, much higher than 50 meters, and everybody died. That's just getting to work. That's just getting there.
Oh my God.
That's just getting there.
And we complain about the office work. Oh my God. What did those experiences do to you? Like, what did they make you think about life?
It's pretty tough because I worked at it was a nice lifestyle. It was good money. I got my work done in 2 weeks, and then I had 3 weeks off, which I could do with what I want. For somebody with ADHD, it's perfect. I could focus and work, and then relax. So really big advantages. But it was really like maybe the weekend before. I always left on Tuesday, went offshore on Tuesday, but round about the Friday, it was just this dread. And you're really worried about dying. You're really,
oh my God.
You're really worried, like, it's not, oh yeah, I'm going there and I'm going to earn rock star money. It's like, oh shit, man, I might die. It's really, it's awful.
How long do people typically stay at a job like this?
Forever.
Forever? Are they like adrenaline junkies, or they need this kind of like
just a lifestyle. You just get used to the lifestyle.
You're risking your life every day. Okay.
And you just get on with it, and you're doing it for the 3 weeks off. But it really, there are lots of things that kind of mess with your head. Like the 2 weeks you're offshore, everything is exactly the same. And I remember this one day, I said to Kevin, my colleague, I asked him how his boy was getting on in school. I thought his son was in primary school. And he said, Scott, Matthew's at university, he's studying law. I'm like, what? So it was just like, we're there, we're doing in the same office, doing the same job, drinking the same tea, out the same cups, going to the same meetings for years and years and years. So it's like you're in some kind of weird parallel universe where time stops. And it was really like, wow, I'm really just wasting my life here, half of it. The other half when I'm at home, yeah, beautiful. But still, half of my life was just, it also gave me this really, really cool understanding of time. That time has got nothing to do with a calendar. Not really. Of course it does. But when you're old, you're not going to be remembering January to December. You're going to be remembering the events. So it's really about as much variety as possible, filling your brain, your mind, your memories with as much new stuff as possible. That's what time is. Time is a thing. Time is this conversation. Time is the basketball event. Time is the hike up that hill. That's what time is. Time is the time with my kids, you know. That's what time is. Time is not a date. So, okay, I spent 13 years, half of those 13 years doing the exact same thing every day, but it gave me an appreciation for what time really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did that lead to the nervous breakdown?
So, basically, I was the offshore team leader. So the platform was owned by one of the big companies, the energy giants. And there was maybe about 20 people of that company on the platform. But the rest of the 120 people on there were other companies. And I was like the boss of all those people, let's say. And I think it was about 2014, we had an oil price crash. So money was getting saved left, right, and centre. So as much money as possible was getting saved. And it got to the point where people were losing their jobs. So that was not very nice. You know, you're making decisions about people. You've got very close relationships with these people because you're there. You're in a little tiny box for weeks at a time. So it's a different relationship you have with these people. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you've got to decide who's losing their job. It's like, whoa, this is like not very nice. But it was a really long, drawn out process. It wasn't like, okay, let's make a decision quickly and be done with it. So it was months. So everybody was really worried, and there was no jobs anywhere else because the whole industry was on a big downturn. So it was a really bad atmosphere. But then somebody started sabotaging, right? On a gas platform that's producing 16 million cubic meters of gas every day. The amount of gas that comes through Austria was flowing through this tiny box, not really much bigger than this house, really, or this garden. And you don't want bad energy. You want people happy on these places.
Yeah.
But anyway, it started with just pieces of paper going missing. But then it started like valves were getting turned. Yeah. These valves, you don't just turn these valves. Yeah, and then it started, things were getting broken, like gauges, you know, for measuring things were getting broken.
Oh my God.
And it was like, okay, folks, this is like really, really serious. And the company was like, I'm like, are you serious? They're ignoring it. They're like, no, nothing to see here. I'm like, what? So it was like really crazy. It was really crazy. And then when the people did lose their jobs, back in the old days, previously it would have been someone from onshore, from the office, would come on a helicopter, would come and say to the guy, John, really sorry for your 20 years of service, but it's time to go. The chopper's leaving in 30 minutes. Go and grab your stuff. We're leaving. Because you want these people who've just lost their jobs off the platform really quick. This time though, these people were taken into the office, right? On their way offshore, they were taken into the office and said, right, John, really sorry, you're losing your job, but you have to go offshore. You can't go home and tell your wife and cuddle her and support each other. You have to go offshore and do your 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, the 3 weeks notice, right? 2 weeks notice.
And then, or you're not getting paid. So you don't have a job. You can't look your wife in the eye and tell her, sorry, sweetheart, we're fucked.
You couldn't call her?
Yeah, you could call her.
Yeah.
But you're stuck
No.
on the break for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And your
Mm-hmm.
wife's desperate. She's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? There's no jobs. And these people are offshore. And it was terrible. It was terrible. It was really terrible. So I had like about 14 people desperate. And I'm having to deal with them. And this sabotage is going on. And I suppose there was two things. I mean, I got through this period, went home myself, and basically got home and landed on the floor like a big pool of jelly. I was just fucked.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I managed to stay strong enough to get through the whole thing and take care of my responsibilities, but then I was off work for 6 months. I was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I was a mess. It wasn't very nice.
And you never shared this story, at least online. I haven't seen. Why is it important for you to share it now?
Yeah, mental health. It's like I'm in a position as well where there's these stories, the offshore stories. There's the depression issues. That was maybe when I was in, I don't know when it started or how long it was. I know that it ended when I was 21, just a lifestyle change, and I was fine. That was a tough one, and I lost a very dear friend. I had like a depression buddy then. Yeah, that's not a very nice story at all. But I'll tell it because it's important. So I had a friend, and she was a very, very dear friend. And the both of us, it was only our two, nobody else knew. We just knew our own stories. I don't know how we found out that we were both going through similar things. And yeah, we were just like supporting each other. But then I was 21 and I left Scotland, came here, beautiful place. And I was fine after that. It was just like a cloud lifted. The lifestyle change just sorted my brain out. Could have been because I was smoking weed all the time back then as well. I mean, it could have been a chemically induced depression. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or it could have just been because I saw no future in Scotland. I didn't see I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I was going. It was very just depressing.
But lifestyle change can do that. When my PhD ended, I was depressed for like a year. Like I had a good job and everything, but I felt like absolutely empty. And there were like different reasons for that. It were more like with my self-esteem and external validation tied, like what happens when you're doing something like PhD. But I can totally imagine this transition is very hard for many people.
Yeah.
And not everyone manages to like go and live their life happily, and it requires adjustment.
Yeah, exactly. And you get lost and things happen, and that was 2000. 26 years today. This is my 26th anniversary in Austria, so it's kind of appropriate. Just by chance we're doing it today. So I left and I was immediately fine. And about 3 years later, we were at a party and we were partying and we were outside, just me and her, smoking. I used to smoke, terrible habit. And she had a kid, and she said to me, she says, Scott, do you still get suicidal thoughts? And I said, no, never. And I thought, I'm in my own world, everything's fine, she's got a kid, I just assumed that the kid had fixed her. And here I'm saying names, I'm not sure if it's better or yeah. Anyway, I said to her, what about you? Do you? And she said, yeah, I do. She says, I struggle, I really struggle. And I'm like, whoa. But then somebody came out somebody came out, so the conversation ended. We never had the conversation. We never continued the conversation. We just got back into the party and getting drunk and whatever else. And I never saw her again.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You were exposed to a lot of death in your life.
A little bit. So that's the kind of thing is like, yeah. On the one hand, this is extremely morbid because I was going through this thing with her, so I knew the pain that she was in. I was kind of like, on the one half, not any different from like somebody with cancer. You see them suffering and they die and you're sad that they're gone, but it's like, okay, they're not suffering anymore. On the one hand, there was that. It was like, okay, I knew the pain she was in. She got relief, but on the other hand was, fuck. That's a young woman who's not with us anymore that, yeah, what could I have, maybe, I don't know, you know, like, there is that question, what would have happened if I'd continued that conversation? What if I'd phoned her the next day? Or another day? I didn't though, I didn't, I just, I was doing my own thing, I was in my own world and just, I let a friend down very, very badly. And that had bad consequences. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very heavy. But first of all, like there is nothing that like you need to blame yourself for, right? So you don't know, you didn't know, and she didn't share, so that's all right. That's not on you. But do you feel like talking about it now and sharing it openly could help somebody?
Yeah, exactly. It could. And here's another thing, right? I've got a very good friend, very, very good friend who kind of can read me and I don't need to say anything. And it's amazing to have such a person. But last year I was going through another fucking burnout, man. There was some serious shit going on last year as well. My mum had just died. The project I was working on, they weren't paying me. I was working my ass off. It was like the biggest green energy company in green energy project in the world in Europe, and they weren't paying me. They owed me a shitload of money. I was like, it was crazy, and I was really struggling. At the same time, I was in a really deep flow with my own stuff, but there was this period where there was, I don't know if it was a day or if it was a week, but there was like 3 incidents. One, I fell asleep in the sauna, right, which is not cool. We're like 90 degrees. 2, I fell asleep driving, which is
oh my God,
not cool. And the third thing was I was eating a steak here on the balcony, and I went in to get a drink, and I realised that I'd left the frying pan on, full of oil, right?
oh
So
yeah.
I would have been able to jump here, but I would have burnt my freaking house down, right?
Yeah.
And I made a video, burnt out building or something like that, and put it on YouTube. And lots of people saw this video. And not one fucking person phoned. And some of you, and you know who you are, should be ashamed of yourself, by the way. They didn't say, hey, Scott, you okay?
Yeah.
My dad picked up on it, but just through speaking to me, not the video. But other people, I was like, I spoke to one person, and she said, oh, I saw your video, I was really worried about you. I was like, why didn't you pick up the phone then? She said, I heard from this other friend that you... Like, no. See if you've got any doubt about a friend, or anybody, not even if it's a friend, if it's an enemy, if it's whoever, it doesn't matter who it is. Pick up the phone. And social media, like, we're all pretending, we're not pretending, but we're just showing off the best sides of life.
Of course.
Because who wants to see the misery? But, like, we're doing cool stuff. We show it off, and we're not doing it to look cool. We're doing it because there's a message and there's a reason behind it. But back in 2020, again as well, I was struggling. I was going through a divorce. Everybody was in lockdown, so I wasn't spending time with the kids that I would want to be spending and stuff. I was struggling. And I thought, right, I'm going to do something here that I don't see a lot of people doing. And rather than just being the hero all the time, I'll show myself as being vulnerable and I'll put it on Facebook. And I just put a post, and it's probably still there from 2020. It's probably really easy to find because I don't do Facebook very much. And I just put something along the lines of, hey folks, I'm really struggling. And 2 people did actually get in touch. Bernard, a guy who was just a guy I didn't even know, just a guy who'd attended a workshop, who'd paid me money to go ice bathing with me. He was like, Scott, are you okay? And the other person was Christian Warner from Wasserfest. His wife Danny had read it and said, Christian, I think it might be a good idea if you called Scott. And he did. And he did. And I'm so fucking grateful to you two, by the way, as well. Danny and Christian, thank you. They picked up the phone and said, but fucking 1,400 other people saw that and just ignored it. So, yeah. I think what I'm trying to say is, if you're not sure, just ask people how they are. Because we're pretty good at putting on brave faces, but we're often not good at showing. And it was the same with the depression. So me and had our own thing going where we were just kind of, I don't know, whatever that was, just accompanied each other in our misery there. But I was in a car, I worked with my auntie Heather, and I remember it so clearly. She just said to me, we're in the car together driving to work, and she said, Scott, are you okay? And I just broke down. Just in that moment, I just said to her, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And thank fuck. Thank fuck. My auntie picked up on something that day and asked me. Who knows what would have happened if my auntie, thank you Auntie Heather, thank you, I love you very, very much. And yeah, maybe my Auntie Heather saved my life that day. Maybe just because my Auntie Heather just turned, I think she was driving, so she turned to her left and said, Scott, are you okay? Just a simple question at a critical moment made all the difference, made all the difference.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to ask for help? Probably especially men, because at some point I realized that nobody will come to save you unless you save yourself or ask for help. The same like in a relationship, I can't expect my husband to know what I'm struggling with. Like he cannot read my mind, so I have to ask for help. So at some point I decided like I don't hold it back, and whenever I'm struggling, I will either write about it. Sometimes just putting out a post helps me process my emotions because it's like writing a diary. Sometimes talking to a friend, and sometimes just thinking about it, and sometimes going to therapy. Why is it hard for people, and I imagine men even more, because it's kind of stigmatized to talk about your feelings, you internalize it more?
I suppose men, whether you like it or not, you know, okay, it's 2026 and we're all modern and feminism, menimism, whatever it's called. But I think men certainly, and traditionally it has been the case, maybe it's different now, maybe there's it's not as necessary for men to be the strong ones, you know, we're like the guardians, the women have been traditionally looking after the house, but we've been at the door being the gatekeepers, stopping the bad things happening, earning the money. And this is the thing as well, like my uncles, my grandfather, my dad, all did dangerous jobs, you know, working in the North Sea, fishermen in the North Sea. That's not funny. That's not fun.
Yeah.
There's none. They're not doing these jobs for self-realization. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and sit in a fishing boat and bob around for most of the year because it's funny. It's to look after the family. And I suppose men, we've got it hardwired into us
Yeah,
that
for
we need to
sure.
be the strong ones all the time. Just in case something bad turns up at the door, we are the ones that are there. We are the gates to keep that away. And I suppose we end up being stoic, but not in a good way, perhaps. Not looking inside, not looking at our feelings, not even being aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're there, and they're doing things with us. Like back in 2016 when I had my nervous breakdown, I mean, I could hardly move. I mean, that was, and also not just from the moment where I had the nervous breakdown, before then, for the years, like I couldn't move my head. There was so much tension
Oh my God.
in my body.
Okay.
Tension in my body. And these are the things as well. So I'm working on this gas platform and there's 1,200 bars of gas.
Yeah.
16 million cubic meters coming out of the ground. This place is loud as can be.
Oh.
Right? It's there's like 7 RB211 Rolls-Royce jet engine changing the pressure of this fuel. So it's like being on a airport runway for weeks at a time, and it's shaking itself to pieces, this place. That force, that pressure, it comes with the platform into your body, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not earthing, you're on a bit of metal, a lump of metal in the sea. You know, we hear about people on these hippie things going earthing, going taking your shoes off and walking on the lawn. Amazing. Being on a gas platform with that much pressure in the middle of the North Sea is exactly the fucking opposite. It has an effect on your body, a negative effect on your body. That's the extreme. I think most people are dealing with a lot of pressure. Not just men, women, everybody. You know, okay, there is a big push on go and build a career. It's all about self-realization. But at the end of the day, it's go and earn money. Otherwise, you can't pay your rent.
Right.
There's not really that many people that are like, the rent, fuck it, easy peasy. Pretty much everybody's like, oh shit, man, how's the numbers this month? And it has a negative effect on us. Yeah.
And I guess it doesn't really change whether what we have with social media is that we see people in very high positions or who are realized, have a good brand, have a good business, and it seems like they have it all figured out. But I imagine it doesn't matter what level the person is or what status or where they are in life, is the same, and they cannot express themselves and their feelings and struggle the same way.
Exactly, and that's a really interesting one that's made. It was a big click moment for me this week. So when we recorded our conversation, the conversation that was mostly about you that time, but I spoke my abracadabra, the $1 trillion plea for help, and mentioned Jeff Bezos and needing people like him to sponsor the project. And this week I was in a room with his yoga instructor, high level, if you like, a very experienced guy, not just yoga, but a much more spiritual practice, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's a really spiritual place, the Jiu-Jitsu mats. Punk rocker, done all these things, but whilst he's on the Joe Rogan podcast, I'm listening to him and he's saying this is humiliating saying this. This is, I feel a bit pathetic saying this. And in the yoga studio the other day, he also, when he's telling stories, he also said this a few times, it's a bit pathetic me telling this story. And I'm like, if a guy who's had this much experience and these amazing areas of life, spent this much time in India, he's got 5 kids, he's been on the mats with Joe Rogan for years and is like done a lot of shedding of the ego. He's able to tell the stories, but you can tell that he still isn't very comfortable saying it. What about everybody else? What about my neighbour? What about him over there? What about the school kid? They're not telling it, they're bottling it up, aren't they? And bottle things up. It's like a bottle of champagne. It maybe starts as still water. It's no problem, no problem. But then you just get more and more pressure, and then eventually, bang! It's not very nice. So, and it doesn't make us weak. I mean, I'm not going, we don't need to have victim mentality. I'm very against the victim mentality.
Me too, yeah.
Very against that. And I suppose that's probably, I've done these things. Physically, I'm quite strong. I've spent a lot of time doing martial arts and stuff. I can physically look after myself and stuff. I've avoided suicide. I've avoided helicopter crashes. I've done loads and loads of silly things. Let me just give you an example here of silly things that I've done. You know what these are?
I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see these, but these are like dozens and dozens of X-rays and MRT scans.
Why do you have so many?
Exactly, why? Because I'm very silly and I've been not very nice to my body. I've done lots of really silly things. And this is the proof. And this is a bit of an ADHD thing as well, the need to feel. A bit more excitement, a bit more dopamine, adrenaline, all this stuff. But these are things, I've done some crazy things and lots of broken bones and stuff like that. And I've got a wobbly finger here, for example. But this is kind of also a project of mine. I want to, so the ADHD positive movement, ADHD is not just in the mind, body and spirit in harmony. ADHD is a bit of a mind, body and spirit in a bit of a fucking chaotic mess a lot of the time. I reframed the second, it was a game changer finding out I had ADHD. Just my life, so many things made sense. And I saw the beauty in it immediately. It was like, oh wow, that's why I'm so awesome. that was my reaction.
Yeah.
And I immediately reframed the terrible, I don't even like saying what ADHD medically stands for. It's awful. It's a deficit and it's a attention deficit
disorder,
hyperactivity disorder. Ugh. How are you supposed to live with that label? That's terrible. So I reframed it for me, always dreaming, highly driven. That's me, because I am.
Yeah.
When I was at school, Scott, it was also on the report cards, Scott's a dreamer, Scott's always dreaming. It's a bad thing, it's amazing. And so this wee project here is just now, I've disrespected my body in a lot of ways, a lot of times. I'm 47, I have a hip replacement. I could have been doing with this hip replacement when I was about 20, but I only just got it in 2022, so 4 years ago. But these X-rays, I want to make a wee art project, with these in the background, these X-rays here, and my body. I just put my I could, I look pretty decent with my shirt off, let's say. So I showed you a magazine where I was in it earlier with Axel and Svindal. And you said next time on the cover. So next time on the cover, and this is a genuine goal, abracadabra, speak and create, and maybe the right person will hear this, is I want to be on the front cover of Men's Health.
Oh, okay.
Men's Health, because it's a genuine thing. ADHD is a health thing. So I think it's a beautiful picture, and it kind of shows what I've overcome. You can see that I move well now. I look pretty decent with my shirt off, like I said, and I think it's very symbolic to say just because you've got ADHD does not mean your fucking life needs to be and stay a mess forever. There's a lot of struggles, and for most people with ADHD, it kind of feels like you're walking on a tightrope on the edge of oblivion, over oblivion. But if you know how to deal with it, you can really start using the advantages. And I would love to have this picture of me with these hundreds of x-rays
Yeah.
in Men's Health.
Yeah, but I can already see it would look so artistic.
Mm.
And I think it's extremely important that you are telling your story now, because it shows you as a person with very rich background and a lot of obstacles that you have overcome. And it makes sense why you would be the one to put on the cover, because you represent so much. You are an inspiration for those who might be struggling and who might not find the courage to speak up and talk about things that are concerning them. And also for somebody who is maybe putting themselves in dangerous situation and not taking care of their body because of other issues. I think it's a very wonderful initiative, and you should definitely take it further. I'm wondering, for those who are struggling, who cannot speak up, who are making the wrong choices that you've been making, is there an advice or some kind of take-home message that you can give them? And maybe it's connected to the breath work. Maybe that's why you started doing it. Actually, I don't know. But what could you advise them, something practical that they could implement right away?
Well, that is exactly, exactly. You hit the nail on the head there. And the breath work, breathing, doesn't need to be anything fancy, is the single most important, most effective thing for everything. Everything. And, I get excited speaking about breathing. Yeah, let's speak about breathing, right? So, it's the first thing we do. The very first thing we do when we enter this world is we breathe. And it's the very last thing we do too. And with every single other thing that we do in our life, our breath accompanies us. And it's also with health-wise. So people will be going to the gym, people will be eating well, people will be drinking well, right? So let's say moving poorly. How long can you live without moving well? A long time, huh? So if you don't go to the gym, okay, you might not live to 70, maybe you only make it to 55. Even then, yeah, you still get to 80 not going to the gym. Food. You can go to Macdonald's every day. You can eat junk foods your whole life. Not particularly good, but you'll be okay. And if you don't eat, be a few weeks probably, I don't know, be a little while before you die. Not drinking water, you don't drink water, maybe it's 4 days.
Yeah.
You don't sleep. A few days. You don't breathe. How long?
1 minute?
A couple of minutes, and you're gone. And luckily, thanks to people like me, breathwork and breathing is kind of really in fashion, and it's booming. And it's good, because it really is. It's the foundation of everything. It really is. And you can do so much with breathing. And it's not an accident that your breathing muscles are also your postural muscles. And I love this is where language comes into things too. So if somebody's not feeling too good, how's their head?
Head?
Head.
Cloudy?
But physically.
Physically. Down.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Your head down or hanging. Your head's hanging. Yeah? And you'd say to them, keep your head up.
Yeah.
Yeah? And immediately, as soon as you do that, you feel better. Right? So this is like a great trick. Before you go doing antidepressants and all these kinds of things, how's your posture? Yeah? And if you breathe well, your posture's automatically good. See, you do it. And you're working your muscles, your here, your neck, and everything. You're breathing well. Your posture's good. If your posture's good, your head's good. If your head's good, your mood's good.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. And also like to blood pressure. If you're breathing too fast, for example. So this is a proper downward spiral, folks, here. If you're not breathing well, so let's say stress. And most people aren't breathing well with their diaphragm. They're breathing their chest higher up. So that means you're going to be, your breath frequency is higher.
Mm-hmm.
So the faster you breathe, the more carbon dioxide you're extinguishing from your body. The less carbon dioxide in your body, the tighter your blood vessels are. So your blood vessels are tightening. Your breath actually controls your heart frequency also. So the faster you're breathing, your faster your heart is. The tighter your blood vessels are, your blood pressure is higher, you're under stress, your body's physically under stress, you're physically under stress, you're mentally under stress, and you can just counter this. Just breathe more slowly, like you're doing just now. Your mouth is closed, you're consciously thinking about your breath just now, so you're doing it well, right? And that's it, it's as simple as that. It's number one tip, folks, shut your mouth. But in the nicest possible way, yeah? Keep your mouth shut, and you start breathing through your nose. You start breathing through your nose, automatically your breath slows down. Yeah? Automatically you start breathing deeper. Automatically you start using your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is not only your breathing muscle number one, it's also your posture muscle number one. You start using your diaphragm, your posture gets better. But then there's all sorts of magic things here as well. Massage. Why do we get massages?
To relax?
Exactly, to relax. Why do we relax when we get massage?
We release the tension from the muscles.
Exactly. And if there's less tension, what can happen there? Anyway, that's a difficult question. I'll just answer that one here, not to put you on the spot. But when we relax, basically the blood flows better.
Yeah.
Energy in, waste out.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that, right? So if you've got a sore back, you can feel it. Yeah, you can feel it and you can go say, right, I need a massage. And somebody, if you've got a good masseuse, you'll get it fixed. But inside here, so we've got two diaphragms here, right? One up here and one down here, our pelvic floor. If they're parallel and working well, when we're breathing well, there's a lot of movement here in our organs. We're basically massaging our organs. But we can't feel when there's tension, when the waste, the energy isn't going in, the blood's not going in and the waste coming out. We can't feel that until it's too late. And then it's too late. Then bad things start happening. So by breathing well, we're massaging our our organs. Yeah? It's like, wow, that's why I'm 47 and look the way I do.
Yeah, I didn't believe that you were 47 when I met you for the first time. Actually, I think meeting you was also part of my abracadabra because I think a few weeks before that I was going to an event with a friend of mine, like she's part of my group coaching, and she told me that she worked with a breath coach and she was like depressed, like she was unhappy, and it changed her life just through breathing. And I was like, hey, I've never thought about breathing like that and that it can change somebody's life like this. And I was like, give me her phone number. And it took her a while to send me the phone number of that lady. But in the meantime, you texted me and said, hey, let's do a podcast episode. And I was like, okay, interesting. So I guess I have to learn more about breathing and what it can do to you and all the positive aspects, because what I do when I'm stressed or when I'm anxious, the number one rule is always 5 deep breaths. Like breathing in, holding, breathing out, holding. That's an exercise that I do for myself. That's like the maximum that I know about breathing. And then she mentioned that, and then you came into my life, and yeah, it sounds very interesting. I think this is something that I will also be looking into soon.
It really is a game changer, and it's so simple. I'd love to do an exercise. We'll do an exercise here just to show how amazing breathing is. And this is one, like we were smiling just now. See that? It was a really heavy conversation. Yeah. And now we've got huge smiles on our face. That's fantastic. But when you're feeling down, just in case we've depressed anybody with the conversation we were having earlier on, let's change the mood. Let me put these things away. Right. So gratitude breath. So this exercise is so simple, and if you're feeling a little bit down, all you do is you take a deep breath in, and it doesn't matter how you breathe, just breathe in, and you think of someone who's very dear to you. So for me, I think of my mother or my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And then you breathe out, and you send that person a smile.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Let's do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You think of your person, I'll think of my person, and you all think of your person. Please, follow along. 3 seconds, and it'll put a smile on your face. So.
It's very nice. I was imagining this person just looking at me in the beginning, and when I was sending them a smile, they were smiling back.
There you go.
Mm.
There you go. And that is really helpful. Makes your smile bigger when you're already happy, but when you're down, it can really change your day.
Yeah.
Maybe even save your life.
Yeah. Scott, thank you so much. It was so great to learn so much about you, and I feel like there's still so much to unpack. Like, I think we can go into each of the stories, right, much deeper. We didn't overview. We didn't go deep into what was the nervous breakdown like, what was the situation in each one of those
Yeah, there's a lot.
X-rays.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stories with each one of them too. Yeah, for sure.
And what was the depression about? Like, there's definitely so much, and I think you taking that, combining it with breath work, and putting the message out there that it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to ask for help, is definitely gonna get you on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah, Men's Health.
The Men's Health.
And
if not,
I'm going to do something stupid here, right? Just because we're speaking about men's health, but just look, see? We're not going to take my shirt off, but I wasn't even squeezing properly just now. Right.
Yeah, but in any case, it will definitely help a lot of people. So you should keep doing it, really. Like, stay consistent. And I know one of the issues that you have is consistency. So I challenge you to stay consistent, because it's a very important topic. It's a beautiful topic, and it's something that can help so many.
Yeah.
So this is my challenge to you. I want to see consistent content coming out and helping people and changing their lives.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. Today's a special day as well. One more thing to end this conversation. It's Father's Day.
Oh, Father's Day.
It's Father's Day. I wrote my dad a love letter a couple of weeks ago, and because it's Father's Day, and we should appreciate our fathers every single day, not just Father's Day, so it doesn't matter when you are listening to this, I would just like to read the love letter.
Let's do it. We end another episode with a poem of yours, or with
yeah, my writing.
Your writing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, just read that. I hope it's here. I hope it's here because I read it the other day. Where could it be? I write a lot. Where is it? Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, listen to that. I quite like this one. And these words are really genuine and true, and there's actually no exaggeration in this. And yeah, I'm glad I sent this to my dad. So this is for all the dads out there, and all the people who have dads, and all the people who don't. They can still feel it. Dear Dad, you're the strongest man I've ever known, and I've known a few. I remember when you saved that boy's life across the lighthouse. You saw the lighthouse? That's a steep slope, unstable ground. Just ask the boy. There was a massive concrete slab on top of him. You just picked it up and threw it to the side like it was nothing. But more than being the strongest man I've ever seen, much more than that, you're the most loving man I've ever known. A bear of a man, a fierce protector of your own. At home, though, you were still a bear of a man. At home, though, you were a teddy bear. My childhood was one that was full of cuddles. Wrestling with you and you rubbing my face with your stubble, those are my fondest of childhood memories. You're a Messi, yes. It's actually his nickname. But our home, it really was a home. Our home was always full of family and friends. You were like a second dad to a good few of our friends. A more selfless person I've never met. You showed me what it means to be a man. You showed me what it means to be a great dad. I think I'm a good dad. I try my best. If I do it half as well as you, I'm doing a grand job. Thank you. As much as I know you love me, that's how much I love you too. Scott.
Wow, beautiful. What did your dad say?
Thanks for that weird letter.
Okay, man.
Yeah, but he got it. He got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Lika. It was lovely. It was a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, folks. Bye-bye. Till next time.
Yes.
Stay funky.
Oh, wow.